Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. The Straw Hat Fleet is now unstoppable, and I'm going to list all the possible new commanders who could join this crazy alliance, turning the Straw Hats into an army even the world government can't handle. Just imagine a fleet that started with 7 hilarious divisions in Chapter 800 after Dressrosa, where Cavendish, Bartolomeo, Sai, Ideo, Leo, Hiadruden, and Orlumbus swear eternal loyalty to Luffy, totaling 5,640 pirates crazy for freedom. But what if I told you that's just the beginning? With fresh spoilers through September 2025, the manga in the Elbaf arc dropping bombs like unexpected alliances, and the world sinking in Chapter 1115, the Grand Fleet could grow with new, heavy-hitting commanders, making it a force that topples Yonkou, admirals, and even Emu like dominoes. Let's take this giant ride, no breaks for breath, exploring each candidate with manga hints, epic justifications, and mind-blowing speculation. Because if Luffy is the future pirate king, his fleet will be the empire that laughs at death. Starting with the obvious, but not yet official, Yamato, Kaido's daughter, who dreams of being Odin and sailing free like the wind. In Chapter 1051, after Kaido's defeat in Wano, Yamato declares she will join the Straw Hats, with her mythical zone dog fruit transforming her into a fiery guardian perfect for a division focused on protection and savage attacks. But why would she be an unstoppable commander? Remember Chapter 1020, where she holds Kaido alone, using supreme haki to freeze bombs and kick butt? If she joins the fleet, imagine a division of Oni warriors inspired by her, sailing to the far corners of the world, with Luffy laughing as she shouts, "I am Odin!" in the middle of a naval battle against Blackbeard. Yamato would bring brute strength and unwavering loyalty, as seen in Chapter 1057, when she hesitates to stay in Wano to protect the country. But with the Elbaf arc in 2025 opening doors for reunions, she could set sail as the 8th commander, making the fleet a mix of myths and monsters even the elders can't stop. Now, let's move to Carrot, the mink rabbit who's already proven to be an electrifying addition to the crew. In Chapter 888, during Whole Cake Island, Carrot activates her Sulong form against Big Mom's fleet, turning into a furious ball of fur that destroys ships as if they were giant carrots. She traveled with the Straw Hats since Zoo in Chapter 824, fighting alongside Luffy and the crew, and in Chapter 1056, after Wano, she is named leader of the Minks by Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. But that doesn't stop her from dreaming of sailing. Imagine Carrot as the commander of a mink division, with furry warriors using electricity to electrocute enemies. In Chapter 811, the Minks already showed loyalty to the Straw Hats, and with the world sinking in Chapter 1114, Carrot could join to protect the seas with her insane speed. She would bring joy and agility to the fleet, as seen in Chapter 889, when she leaps between ships like a supersonic rabbit, making the Grand Fleet a fast, unpredictable force dancing around naval armadas. Let's not forget Vivi, the Princess of Alabasta, already considered an honorary Straw Hat since Chapter 216, when she bids farewell with an X on her arm, symbolizing eternal loyalty. In Chapter 1058, Vivi disappears after the reverie, escaping with Morgans and perhaps hiding from the government perfect to return as the commander of an Arab-inspired division, honoring her people and the Cobra who died defending the truth in Chapter 1085. Vivi would bring diplomatic intelligence like in Chapter 213 when she plans to overthrow Crocodile. And with her D lineage revealed in Chapter 1085, she fits perfectly into Luffy's clan. Imagine a fleet with sand ships and giant camels, Vivi leading stealth attacks against Cypher Paul, turning the Grand Fleet into a global network of rebels, laughing at oppression. And how about Smoker, the smoking admiral who has been chasing Luffy since Logtown in Chapter 100, but with a sense of justice that doesn't match the corrupt navy? In Chapter 690, in Punk Hazard, Smoker allies with Luffy against Caesar, showing he prioritizes good over rules. With Garp captured in Chapter 1157 and the Navy sinking in scandals in Chapter 1115, Smoker could desert and join as the commander of an ex-Marines division, using his smoke logia to create fogs that confuse enemies, as in Chapter 662, where he fights Law. Fun to imagine Smoker on the Sunny, smoking his double cigarette and grumbling, "I'm not a pirate, but for justice, I'll help this stretchy kid." He would bring naval tactics to the fleet, making it a war machine that topples bases like Marineford. Tashigi, the glasses-wearing swordswoman who dreams of collecting famous blades, could follow Smoker in this desertion, becoming commander of a sword Hunters Division. In Chapter 662, she allies with the Straw Hats and Punk Hazard, and her rivalry with Zoro, Chapter 97 First Meeting, could turn into a partnership. With Wano in Chapter 1057 showing her growth, Tashigi would bring precision and honor to the fleet, collecting weapons to equip divisions, making the Grand Fleet a fully armed legion. Law, the Surgeon of Death, has been an ally since Punk Hazard in Chapter 659, and after defeating Kaido in Chapter 1051, he could formalize as commander of a Heart Pirates division within the fleet. His Ope Ope no Mi, Chapter 504, allows teleportation and crazy surgeries, perfect for rescues and ambushes, like in Chapter 1001, the fight against the Yonkou. Law would bring cold strategy to Luffy's madness, with his polar bear crew turning into an unstoppable medical unit. Kinemon and the Wano Samurai, loyal since Punk Hazard in Chapter 657, could form a ninja samurai division after Wano opens in Chapter 1057. Kinemon's Fuku Fuku no Mi creates disguises, Chapter 682, ideal for infiltration, making the fleet a shadow that strikes out of nowhere. But why would he need this fleet? First, let's understand the size of the mess Luffy is facing, because being the future Pirate King isn't just about laughing and eating meat, it's about confronting forces that would even make Zoro stop snoring. In Chapter 1053, after Wano, Luffy is declared a Yonkou with a bounty of 3 billion, but that's just the beginning. The world government with its elders and Imu, revealed in Chapter 906 as the boss in the shadows, doesn't mess around. In Chapter 1085, Imu vaporizes a kingdom with demonic power straight out of a nightmare. And in Chapter 1115, Vegapunk drops the bomb. The world is literally sinking because of ancient weapons. Luffy, as the reincarnated Joy Boy, Chapter 1044, Awakening of the Hito no Mi, model Nika, is the guy destined to turn the game around. But alone, not even with Gear 5th can he handle it. The Grand Fleet, with its thousands of pirates, is the army that gives Luffy the reach to face this global threat. Imagine this. In Chapter 1154 in Elbaf, while Luffy trains with giants, Bartolomeo's fleet blocks a navy armada with Cavendish striking dramatic poses and Hadruden smashing ships like they're toys. Fun? It's Luffy laughing while his allies turn the sea into a circus of chaos, making sure he reaches Laugh Tale. But it's not just the world government. There's Blackbeard, the trickiest villain of the seas, collecting devil fruits like trading cards. In Chapter 1059, Teach captures Hancock and steals her powers. And in Chapter 1157, he traps Garp at Hachinosu, showing he's playing dirty to become Pirate King before Luffy. The fleet is essential here because Blackbeard has his own armada, with monsters like Kuzan, Chapter 1081, former admiral, and Van Augur, who teleports ships, Chapter 925. Without a fleet, Luffy and the Straw Hats would be swallowed in a naval war. Think about the madness. In Chapter 800, Bartolomeo uses his barriers to protect the Sunny, and Orlumbus commands entire fleets like a pirate admiral. If Yamato, with her mythological dog, Chapter 1020, or Carrot, with Sulong, Chapter 888, joined as commanders, the fleet would have firepower to face Blackbeard's titans, with Yamato freezing cannons and Carrot jumping between ships like a ninja rabbit. Luffy needs this to invade Hachinosu and save Garp, with divisions like Sais, full of Happo Navy fighters, Chapter 704, breaking everything in their path. Furthermore, the fleet is the answer to the global chaos that's coming. In Chapter 1114, Vegapunk explains that the world is sinking because of the Void Century and weapons like the Mother Flame. Luffy, as Joy Boy, wants to free everyone, Chapter 1044, but he can't be everywhere. The Grand Fleet, with divisions spread out, can save islands, protect allies, and face the collapse. In Chapter 1058, Buggy, Crocodile, and Mihawk's Cross Guild shows how alliances change the game. Luffy's fleet does this on a bigger scale. Imagine Vivi joining an Alabasta division, Chapter 1085, Reverie Escape, leading desert ships to rescue sinking peoples, or Jinbe with a Fishman division, Chapter 863, swimming to save submerged islands. Fun to imagine Luffy yelling, "Go, my Nakama!" while Leo and his Tontatas sew giant sails, Chapter 800, to keep the fleet sailing through chaos. This global network is what makes Luffy a true emperor, not just in strength, but in influence. The fleet is also the fulfillment of Luffy's dream, freedom for all. In Chapter 1, he says that being Pirate King means being the freest. And in Chapter 1044, his Nika awakens as the god of freedom. But freedom isn't just sailing, it's protecting those who can't fight. In Chapter 903, after Whole Cake, Luffy is called the 5th Emperor by Morgans, and the fleet is what gives weight to that title. Divisions like Idios, with Boxers, Chapter 800, or Orlumbuses, with Explorers, can patrol seas, protect islands like Wano, Chapter 1057, or Zoo, Chapter 811, and spread Luffy's joyful chaos. Fun to imagine Bartolomeo, the #1 fan Japan, using barriers to save villages while yelling, "Luffy Senpai is the greatest," or Hadruden recruiting Elbath giants to smash Cypher Paul bases. The fleet is Luffy's arm, extending his will to the ends of the world. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.